Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Inspirational Entrepreneur Spotlight interview. Today, we're going to be speaking with Antonia van Becker and Greg Lee all about the chapter they have in the new book, Teach Your Expertise, talking about tapping into your body's wisdom to accelerate your success. Hi everyone, I'm Virginia Parsons, the host of the Spotlight interview, and it is my passion to shine the spotlight on business owners' expertise. Today I'm continuing a series of interviews with a group of co-authors from a powerful new book called Teach Your Expertise, which has just been released on Amazon. The authors will be sharing their stories and how they discovered the power of teaching and what they know by creating an online course. Now, today's guests, as I just mentioned, are Antonia van Becker and Greg Lee. And they are the founders of Self Health Institute, and their mission is to empower clients by turning problems that block their success into golden opportunities so that they can realize all their dreams. Now, for 25 years, they've been using the signature core talk therapy to guide conscious entrepreneurs and business owners into successful outcomes by asking simple questions and getting life-changing answers. They've been together since 1979. Their 40-year relationship imbues their healing practice with love, body-mind consciousness, and emotional, energetic balance and awareness. Antonia and Greg's online course, The Success Accelerator Code, gives people the tools they need to heal so they can transform their life and their business. They live their dream in the wilds of West Marin County, California, healing others, growing food, and writing songs to inspire others to envision and realize their dreams. Welcome, Antonia and Greg.
Oh, thank you, Virginia. So nice to be with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us.
It is my pleasure to have you guys here because I am so inspired by all the stories of the authors. And I think it is that opportunity that they are providing for the readers to learn that it's not easy always to grow an online business, but when you've got the passion and the determination, any challenges that you go through are worth it. And what I'd love to hear from you both, and both take a moment to share your side of the story since you've been together since 1979. Let us know, what were defining moments in your own lives, both singly and together, that brought you to this point to be working on what you are in your business today?
Yeah, I think one of the defining moments for us was realizing that we had this really deep passion to help other people, and we weren't really directly serving others in that way. We were both working at corporations in Silicon Valley, and it was taxing our health, and we were seeing some really kind of difficulties. We had little kids, we were traveling a lot. We both had very important positions with the companies that we were working for, but it was starting to really show up in our health and in our relationship and the way that we were showing up even in the jobs that we had. And I had a health scare and kind of really went into the resources that I needed to find, which was deep inside me, versus what the doctors were telling me was that the problem that I had shown up was not medically diagnosable. And so found my way through that, and we started to become very interested in this work that had basically saved my life, and really started to focus in on how are we going to change our lives and get back in balance with what's really important for us. And it was really this work that we do now, when we started doing this 25 years ago, that brought us together in our passions to be able to really offer what we do, like breathing, which is to tap into people's bodies and to be able to bring out the incredible wisdom that their body has to direct them towards what's going to be best for them, and to give them answers, like you said in that wonderful introduction, that are going to really lead them to being able to find what is going to be really light them up in life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just going to inject before you speak your defining moment, Antonia, and say, Greg, isn't it amazing that you had to go through that to move from a very stressful and probably rewarding, but stressful corporate career in Silicon Valley to doing what you're doing today, which is certainly making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. But you weren't even in touch with your own body back then, particularly, were you?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult because in that environment, you're not really taught to take care of yourself. You're
Yeah.
taught to take care of what's going to happen at the end of the quarter, and to make sure that your piece is going to fit in and support all of these other people. And it's kind of a sacrifice that you buy into. But what I noticed is that the more I would buy into it, the less I'd get out of it. Even to the point of when I'd be really successful, I was in sales, and my amount of compensation would be compensated backwards when I do really well. So it didn't fit in with the
Yeah.
So it was like,
not good.
oh, that was a great year. Now next year you're going to have to do way better to do just as well as you did this year.
It's crazy.
So, and that would happen every year for
Oh, my.
8 years. And at the end, it was sickening, literally. And that whole discourse of corporations trying to grow and having a vision that kind of included the people who worked there, but didn't focus on them. It really focused on how to go public, how to create as much value in the company, and it really didn't value the people at the company. And that was something that was real disconnect with me and also with Antonia, as we were handing kids off at airports and trying to stay within our passion, which at that time was also doing music.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we still do that today.
Mm.
So, yeah, it was a real challenge.
No kidding. So, Antonia, how about you? What was defining for you?
Well, we kind of had a perfect storm of health issues at that time, because right after Greg had this really serious gastrointestinal issue, and actually we had our first child and I was pregnant with our second, 8 months pregnant, and I got a blister in my hand. I was working 60, 70 hours a week in Silicon Valley, and a lot of different stressful things were happening. And I got a blister, and I was like, oh, that's stupid. From raking leaves outside, and I'm pregnant out to here, and ignored it, and got up the next morning. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't really feel very good. But I was like, I'm used to just going to work and doing everything. So I went to work, and I was already on antibiotics for bronchitis, because I had had a history of getting bronchitis and pneumonia because I would work so many hours and do all of that. And so I went about my work in the morning, and then I'm like, oh, I really feel odd, and I can't close my hand, and I think I'll go to my doctor's appointment early. And by the time I got there, he's like, oh, well, how are you? And I was like, well, I'm okay, but my hand, and it feels so weird. He said, roll up your sleeve. And I rolled up my sleeve, and I had a red line going up my arm.
Oh, gosh.
And I found out
blood poisoning.
I had blood poisoning. I was on antibiotics. I was 8.5 months pregnant. And the same realization of what the heck is going on in my body, and what am I not paying attention to that is causing this, that I'm not just endangering myself, but the life of my unborn child and my family. And it really caused us to rethink what we were doing. We basically jumped into the healing work when it was so pivotal for Greg's health. We did 2-year certification course, And we started applying it immediately. We started teaching the certification course. We opened a healing center. And a couple years after that, what the next turning point was really, wow, we're helping people and we're helping a bunch of clients, but we want to help more people, and we want to help people get this healing into their own hands so that they can be in charge of their health. They can be in charge of taking care of their mind, body, and spirit. And that's when we said, oh my gosh, we need to get online so that we can reach people all over the world. And that's what we did. We joined Alina Vincent's challenges. We got a client for our online course before we had created it. And there we were jumping in and going for it. And it's been huge for us.
Yes. And a huge transformation in your own life. One of the beauties of being able to do a course is that you can leverage your time and your effectiveness and the impact that you make. And so you, first of all, had to start by taking care of yourselves. Then you started with working with some clients. And next thing you know, you're online and helping so many more people. How powerful and rewarding is that? And my one question before we go into talking a little bit about your course is, how long did it take you to make that transition from corporate to setting up your healing center and letting corporate go, the corporate life go?
Yeah, I think it hit me faster what I really needed to do. And I had a new boss at the time in the corporate job, and he was a real hardcore sales guy, and he was good at it. And he saw in me that I was not his guy. And I was offered either to, he gave me 6 months. He said, let's see if we can make this work. And I was used to saving the company. At the end of every month, I'd get the order that had never been had before, and all this stuff. And he took me into his office with the controller one day, and he said, "Greg, your services are no longer needed here." And it was really a startling moment. Wow. And they said, "You either resign or we'll fire you. Your pick."
And of course, we had just bought a house, and kids started kindergarten.
Yeah. Oh gosh!
So it became very obvious to me that life was going to change quickly.
Yeah.
And what was neat is that Antonia was still working. She worked at Intel. She was doing worldwide training for Intel. So we did have some options as far as we had, some income going. So it took Antonia a couple of years before she said, okay, let's just go for it. But it was as if I knew this as if I was breathing.
We were guided.
We were guided. And the people that came into our lives that we were going to work with and live and learn from, they showed up immediately as soon as our vision changed. And we said, because I can remember, just to go back a little bit, in 1984 when we were married, my piano professor, I was a piano performance major in college, he said, "Greg, what are you going to do at our wedding?" And I said, "I'm going to do music and massage." So, and both things I loved so much, but as we got to where we were starting to have a family, I thought I don't make enough money doing music and massage, so I have to do this shift. So it really was 9 years of going through that, kind of avoiding my vision, the thing that I love to do, my passion, and coming back to it. It was a gift for somebody to realize that I was not the right person for him in the transition that this corporation was making. And then just a couple of years later, Antonia followed. We felt secure enough in being able to start this business, and right away it was a good thing. So then it was a big transition over time, because after 5 years of having our new business, we moved in to a 4-generation household with 7 of us, and that was another challenge, and just a whole nother story of how things went through. And when you have that kind of change in family, where there's a new complexity to your family living, you have to fit that stuff into what you're doing with your business and your life and your relationships. So that was a challenge, but it was also one of those things that gave us depth that we can bring to people in our business. And so it was over a period of 15 years that then we started out of working and doing the certification training that we were doing of the healing work that we learned. We'd basically taken over our teacher's class. Then came this knowing that we wanted to go online, and the opportunity kind of slowly crept in, and we developed, and have just been doing it
A couple of years now.
since. It's been about 2.5 years.
Life is a journey, isn't it?
It really
So-
Life is a journey, and you go along paths of discovery, and you think you're going along this path, and before you know it, it's like, oop, I guess I've got to go this way. Sometimes it's a detour, but sometimes it's a whole new trajectory that you never 5 years earlier could have anticipated. But that's what makes it exciting and fun.
It so is, and you can't make this stuff up, right? I mean, the things that happen are wonderful and amazing as long as you let it unfold.
Right. And that is what is so rewarding about it, as you say. Well, let's talk for a minute about your course. Tell people the name of the course that you created, and that came as a result of working with Alina Vincent, and it's sort of the foundation of the work that Alina teaches. So tell us about it, and what could people expect if they took advantage of it?
Yeah, our course is called the Success Accelerator Code, and really it's kind of a big culmination of so much of what we've learned and what we've put together. We first have put together a course that is a huge course and is now our certification course for core talk therapy. And what we realized with that is, wow, this is so in depth. We need to make something that's easier to digest. And so we took some time to really distill it down. And if people like tapping or body code or things like that, this is something that they're going to love, because it's really about looking at those procrastination blocks, or if you have self-doubts, if you have limiting beliefs, and how to get to the core of why those are happening in your life, and how are you processing things in your brain that affect your body, and how you are presenting yourself to your clients, your customers, your family, all the people around you, how you do business. So it's really looking at the whole mind, body, spirit connection, and how that affects how you show up at your work. And it's really based around, what do you really want to do? And it's so funny, because when I worked at Intel, I was manager of a huge internal training company. But what I found myself doing is, when I had a person that wasn't a good fit, I'd say, well, what do you really dream of doing? What do you really want to do? And we'd have discussions, and then I would guide them to either stay where they were and us make something for them, or help them. One of my people went out and founded a bakery. Another person did their life dreams, right? And I realized, oh my gosh, I'm still doing that in such a different look at it. And the cool thing is that we teach people in the Success Accelerator Code how to see what's going on in their lives and how to heal it, get the issues out of their tissues, so that they don't have to have those behaviors or those, that self-doubt or self-recriminating feelings and those limiting beliefs that really make it hard to put themselves out there when they really need to, right? Getting out of their comfort zone.
So this is, just to interject, this is really a perfect example of where you're taking your life experience and packaging it in a way that helps other people make transitions, transformations, up level, and, as you say, the success code. So pulling it all together into a course is so rewarding, as I know you feel, that it's like, oh, all these years I spent in corporate, all these years I figured out how to train people. Now you've transformed it into a course and added the health and well-being, the mind, body, spirit aspect to it. So very powerful. Greg, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How about the challenges? I know people who are considering starting or creating a course of their own are wondering, is it worth it? Realize, should I do this or can I do this? What were some of the challenges you came up against when you were creating the course?
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges, especially as we came out of the first course that had so much, and it was so much in-depth information, was how to distill really what people needed so that we could take that information and make it into a nuts and bolts, simple course. And the challenges are, how do you take away things that you love to teach people? And how do you decide which ones you're not going to include? So my real advice to people who are looking at creating a course is to think about many courses that you're going to create over time, and to drip your expertise out in a very assimilable fashion, small pieces where you can give them what they need so that they can really get a taste of what you have to offer, and distill your expertise into those small pieces that they can digest, use, and really be able to take advantage of your expertise, and then decide, yeah, I want to do more. I like the way that they show us how to do things, or whatever the content was. And I think it's a really valuable way to look at it. And when you look at the people who are really doing well in the online education business with online programs, that's what they do. They have many offers over time.
Yeah, and I love just the idea that it's bite-sized pieces that are consumable without getting indigestion or feeling like you're drinking from a fire hose and it's like, what just hit me?
And that was one of the huge inputs that we got after we did the pilot of our course, is that they love that because our videos are really short. They're very concise. You can, just listen to them on the fly. If you have 10 minutes, you've got it, and they love that. Having everything chunked down into that relevant information is something that's really important thing to look for when you're developing a course. And for novel writers, I love to write, and kill your darlings is what they say for novelists. So it's kind of the same thing for course developers.
Oh, great. All right. So let's go into, just briefly, we just want to give them a little taste of what they're going to be able to find and read about in your chapter. Give them a little taste of a tip that you shared.
Yeah, one of our tips is how to become aware of how limiting and outdated beliefs are affecting your life and your business and your ability to be successful in what you're doing. And it's one of those really important areas of kind of awareness of what makes you do what you do. And what we find is so many people, when they come to us or when they're doing our online course, they're realizing that they really don't know why they're not getting the results that they want. And that's a big indicator that there's something under the hood. So I love the analogy of cars. When you get in a car and you start to drive it, you kind of turn the key and everything works. Well, when it doesn't work, you don't go, aha, I think the carburetor must be sucking in too much air. You think, it sounds kind of weird. It doesn't seem to be running like it should. So you take it to somebody who knows more about how to diagnose what's happening with the car so that you can get an insider's view of what might be going on. And this is kind of one of the things that definitely happens to people that we work with, is we don't know the stuff that's going on in their life that's causing the problems. So we ask their body, and the body's innate wisdom is what really gives the owner of that body the information that they need to be able to make some subtle changes and let go of the things that are not helping them. So our job is to guide them towards that. And in our courses, we also teach people how to guide themselves, what questions to ask, and the processes that you can use to be able to get that really deep wisdom from your body. So that's one of the areas, is that whole limiting and outdated beliefs is really a powerful way to access information.
Yeah, that's having been a clinical hypnotherapist for over 25 years, I really get the limiting belief one. We always had to uncover it, find out, because that was driving behavior and emotions and response patterns. So very valuable information. Let's tease them a bit more, because we want them to go get the book, don't you? You have a gift that when they get the book, you're providing to them. I am going to just show a quick image saying it's the 3 command blind spots that sabotage your success. Why don't you tell us about the gift?
Yeah. So, and it's really connected to that whole being aware of what's going on and what's driving behavior. And blind spots are just that. They're so hard to see. And yet a lot of times people realize, oh, maybe it's a self-worth. And that's one of the things we talk about is, how come if you work so hard but you always feel behind and that you're never getting ahead? Or even though you have success, you don't feel like you're successful. And maybe that you feel that way, but why do you feel that way? That's where you really want to get, in order to get rid of those blind spots, to shine the light and to say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep working 60, 70, 80 hours. Wait, didn't I become an entrepreneur so I could have the lifestyle and work less hours for more money and all of that, right? But wait, what happened? And it's like there's this train driving the overwork scenario, and it's like, where did that come from? Why am I continuing to do this? And so it's really the beginning point of saying, okay, what is that and why is it happening? And starting to uncover those core issues about why those thoughts and feelings, outdated beliefs are running this show for us and pushing this behavior that is very difficult for our bodies to maintain over years and years.
Yeah, so they got to discover those blind spots. So Greg, as we wrap things up here, let's hear from you why you think people should go out and grab this book that's just been released this week called Teach Your Expertise. And it is authored by Alina Vincent and additional 19 authors, including yourselves. Actually 20, because you guys count as 2.
That's great.
Yeah, so they can get it on Amazon right now for 99 cents. Tell them, why do you think they should be doing that?
Well, what I love about a book like this, and this book specifically, these are all colleagues of ours that we know well, and we've watched them in their journey as they've developed how to bring their expertise into the world. So if you can imagine being able to buy one book for 99 cents, my goodness, and each of those sections in the book is a portal into their expertise, and they're all offering a free gift and a free way to access them and their expertise so that you can improve your ability to bring your message, what you love, your passion into the world. And I just can't imagine a better way to address the questions that you might have as you're wondering, how do I do this? Do I want to do this? The authors in this book are going to tell you exactly what they are offering to help you do that. So what a deal.
It's a smart bunch of people, I gotta say. Like Greg said, we know everyone there, and everyone is so smart and has a beautiful, very well-defined expertise who is showing it in the online world. So if you want to get into the online world, this book gives you so much information about how to do it, what pitfalls to avoid, and then as well as all the gifts that you can take home as well as the book. So there's so much information and expertise in there. It's really thrilling.
Sounds like a deal to me. 99 cents at Amazon. Thank you both so much for being here. This has been such an eye-opener for me and really helps me understand how lives evolve. Every story that I hear is a story about a journey of discovery, a journey of trajectory. And here you are making such a big difference in the world. And I want to thank you for sharing your brilliance with our audience today. And I want to thank all of you, viewers, whether live or in replay, for visiting us today and listening to Antonia and Greg's story. And if you want more great stories like this, stick around because we'll be having several more. You can learn about all the different co-authors of the book if you just jump on our next show. Thank you so much for being here, Greg and Antonia, and we'll see you all on the next Inspirational Entrepreneurs Spotlight Show. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.